Hello everybody, this is MrDSiReview, and today I'm bringing you guys something a little bit different because of the fact that Black Friday is coming up and now is kind of an opportune time to start Christmas shopping. This is going to be the review of the Nintendo 3DS system itself. So the system originally cost $250 when it was released earlier this year, but because it was selling rather poorly for a multitude of reasons, it's been lowered to $170, and we can expect to see some even better deals available on Black Friday and, just regular old holiday sales. Anyway, starting out with the system's features, and believe me, it's packed full of them, it can obviously, first and foremost, play games. Now, it plays its own unique 3DS games, but it can also support DS games. Now, for example, here are two cartridges of games. This one right here is a 3DS game. This one here is a DS game. And you'll notice that not only are they labeled with what type of game it is, but the 3DS carts, so far, I think all of them have been white. And they also have this notch here on the side, which the DS carts do not. So it's really nice that the games are backwards compatible. Nintendo generally does a good job of this, especially since there aren't a whole lot of great games for the system yet, because it's a pretty new system. Good games, however, do include Ocarina of Time 3D, which is a remake of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which is by some regarded as the best game of all time. In fact, I have a review of that up on my channel and on my website. Another one is Star Fox 64 3D. This is another remake of a Nintendo 64 game, but it's also a very good title. And there's Super Mario 3D Land, which in fact I have in my 3DS right now. And this title came out recently, and it's a lot of fun so far from my experience. In fact, I'd like to get my review of that out pretty soon. Other titles to watch out for include Mario Kart 7, which is coming out near the very beginning of December. Paper Mario, which is going to come out sometime next year. Kid Icarus, which I believe will come out early next year. Animal Crossing, again, another title for next year. Luigi's Mansion 2, next year. As you can see, a lot of the anticipated titles are still on their way, and we'll see them in due time. But other good titles include Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D, which isn't like your typical Resident Evil games, but it's pretty fun, although it is rather violent, so maybe if you're a parent watching this video and you want to buy something for your child, then that's probably not the best choice of game, because it's about killing zombies. Also, Nintendogs plus Cats is a pretty decent title. And as I mentioned, there are lots of other good titles on the way. Now, meanwhile, there's also a channel pre-installed into Nintendo 3DS systems called the Nintendo eShop, and this is where you can download software, including games such as DSiWare that was available for the Nintendo DSi system, games called 3DSware, which are exclusive to the Nintendo 3DS system, and virtual console titles, which are basically remakes of really actually just ports of old Game Boy games and Game Boy Color games. There are also a couple of so-called 3D classics, which are revamped versions of games for the Nintendo Entertainment System from way back in the day. And these titles tend to be pretty affordable, usually ranging around $5 each or so, and not taking up a ton of space. One nice thing is that the Nintendo 3DS comes with a 2GB SD card, which stores data of software. Some titles will create a little bit of data there itself. It can store pictures, which I'll get to. You can put music on it, which I'll also get to. And sometimes in the Nintendo eShop, you can also find videos, which are usually trailers for games. Sometimes they let you even download these trailers. And personally, I think it really helps out the Nintendo 3DS system because it expands the library of games and There's just a lot of software already available, especially since, as I mentioned, DSiWare is available, and there's a whole ton of that out there. Next, there's the Nintendo 3DS camera. You can take pictures with this camera, and as of a system update that's coming soon, you will be able to take videos in 3D. It's nothing spectacular. It's about the quality of a cell phone camera, but it's still a camera nonetheless. There's one on the inside, right up here, and then two on the outside, right here. Again, not a whole lot to say about that, but it's still noteworthy as one of the system's features. There are some pieces of software that actually use this camera, and I'll cover that in a moment. Next is the Nintendo 3DS sound channel, and this has two main features. One of them lets you record and play with small sound audio clips, and the other one can allow you to play music off of your SD card, which is something that I really like. I mean, it does a good job of playing music, obviously. Quality is going to depend more on the quality of the actual file and of your headphones. The speakers aren't excellent, but it can still play music decently through them. Next is the Mii Maker. Anyone who's familiar with the Nintendo Wii already knows what this is. You can create characters called Miis, and they're basically just supposed to be avatars to represent yourselves. Sometimes in a game it'll ask you to assign a Mii to a file. Sometimes in some games it'll actually insert Miis from your Mii Maker into the game just as characters passing by or in the background, for example. They do, however, have a large role to play in the Street Pass Mii Plaza, which is a channel where you can exchange puzzle pieces, and you can also go on a small little adventure game with other people's Miis. Now, Street Pass is one type of wireless communication that the Nintendo 3DS supports. The idea is that you keep wireless communications on, and you have Street Pass enabled and a Mii that will be used with Street Pass. And then, rather than turning your Nintendo 3DS off, you keep it in sleep mode, and you keep it around with you, for example, in your pocket or in a bag or something like that. And when you pass by other people who have Street Pass enabled and their 3DS in sleep mode and whatnot, you will exchange data with them, you will receive their Mii, and they will receive yours. And I know for maybe some parents, this might be an issue. If you have really young children, maybe you don't want them walking around and, exchanging data with other people. If that's the case, remember that Street Pass is an optional feature. Next are the AR games. Now, the Nintendo 3DS comes with a set of AR cards, and these cards are used for a couple features within some Nintendo 3DS games and also within this channel. There are 6 cards, and the most important one is this question mark block card. Basically, what AR stands for is augmented reality, and it allows the Nintendo 3DS to superimpose images onto this card, so you'll see them on the screen. You can play a few little mini games with it in this channel. You can take pictures of things. For example, with some cards, you can have a small statue of a character show up, or you can also make your Mii show up on these. They're just for fun, small little features, and sometimes they do play a somewhat important role in games, though usually they're not too important and not a huge feature of the Nintendo 3DS. Now, one piece of pre-installed software that the Nintendo 3DS comes with is called Face Raiders. And what Face Raiders is a game that actually utilizes the Nintendo 3DS camera. The idea is that you take a picture of yourself or someone you know, and then it takes their face and puts it onto small character enemies that fly around and attack you, and you have to just hit them with rubber balls, and then you knock them out and score points, and there's a couple levels like that. The cool thing about it is that while it places them on the screen, you can't just normally turn. You have to actually... It uses the gyroscopic controls, which basically mean that when you turn, in real life and holding the Nintendo 3DS, it'll shift over. So if I were playing it and I shifted over like this, then I would also shift over within the game. And these gyroscopic controls also see a fairly significant amount of use in some software titles. The 3DS also comes with pre-installed health and safety information. There's an activity log for keeping track of how much time you've spent on things or how many steps you've taken. I should mention that the 3DS also counts as a pedometer to encourage you to carry around your 3DS with Street Pass enabled. And with the steps you take, you earn a couple coins per day, and these coins can be used to purchase some things within the AR card channel and the Street Pass Me Plaza. Comes with Download Play, which is basically for playing wirelessly with friends. Some software titles allow you to play with a friend locally with only one person actually owning a copy of the game. And then there are system settings, which is just stuff about internet settings, data settings, and so on. And then over here, I have a whole slew of downloaded software that I have accumulated. Like I said, there's a lot of software available in the eShop. Some of it's even free. For example, the Pokédex 3D or the Nintendo Video Channel. Then there's also a feature called Game Notes, where you can basically scribble yourself a note or draw yourself a picture about a game. And there's a friends list. There's a notifications kind of bulletin board. And then there's a basic web browser. It doesn't support Flash, and it's pretty slow, but it will do for basic web page viewing if you ever need to look something up and you have your 3DS right with you. This can sometimes be useful if you want to pause a game and refer immediately to something on the internet, for example, a walkthrough or a guide. Now, this that you've seen so far is the home menu of the Nintendo 3DS, and at any time during a piece of Nintendo 3DS software, you can hit the home button right here, and it'll basically pause the game very similarly to how it does it on the Wii. And with that, you can either close the software and open up something else, or you can access the Game Notes friends list, notifications, or internet without stopping play of your game. In other words, once you're done using, say, the friends list, then you can close out of that, and your game will still be there waiting for you, rather than you having to, save and quit, and then go to the menu and then start it back up or anything. That's really about all I've wanted to address with the system as far as its features go. I've enjoyed it immensely, and I think at $170 or even less because of possible sales, that it's rather a good deal and definitely worth the money. The titles, like I said, still it's building up its rather small library of games, but I certainly do recommend it, and there are plenty of great games on the way. And the system itself is actually rather powerful. It has much nicer graphics than the Nintendo DS did. Obviously, it supports 3D graphics, which is something I haven't addressed too much. Basically, the idea of it's kind of a gimmick, to be honest, is that you can view most software with a 3D effect, and it'll kind of pop out at you. I assure you that this does, in fact, work. Although usually turning it up all the way doesn't turn out too great. When I do use it, I like to keep it up about half of the way. You can adjust it with the slider. It doesn't exactly show up on camera, and it does use a lot of the battery. But anyways, I certainly would recommend the Nintendo 3DS. I think it's Nintendo's greatest handheld, and so far I've enjoyed all the time I've spent using it immensely. So I think I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully I'll help you guys make up your decisions on whether or not you want it. Anyway, if you like, you can read the written review on my website. You can check out my other videos. If you like this video, you can rate, comment, subscribe. I upload 2 videos per week on average, And I suppose that's about it. So I'll see you guys next time.